Greetings, petrolheads, welcome back to Automation the Car Company Tycoon game. Now I realize that you may think that we've been sort of recycling through the same sort of models with Marina again and again, but in the 90s we've already introduced a new model, the Glow, a sort of budget mid-engine sports car with an NL4 engine, and we're now gonna introduce a hypercar, a front-engine rear-wheel drive super/hypercar that is gonna be competing with stuff like the Dodge Viper. It's called the Marina Nuke, and I don't know about you, but I just love how aggressive this thing looks. I think I did a really good job making this thing not only perform on par with stuff like the Viper, or actually it'll outperform Viper, and the TVR Cerberus, but also make it look just as aggressive, if not more so. Like, this is basically your bedroom wall poster car from Marina. This is what kids are gonna be hanging on their walls and like just look at it, because it's so freaking exotic and aggressive that you know, it's just awesome. It has a carbon fiber monocoque. This is the first of this kind for Marina. It has double wishbone front suspension, pushrod rear suspension, again very fancy and futuristic for our company. It has a fiberglass body panel. It has fiberglass body panels, which is not new, of course, but the looks definitely are. Like, yeah, I don't really think you can compare this to any real world car. It doesn't really look like any real world car. Maybe, I mean, it looks like it could be a TVR. When I first finished this design, I was like, wait, doesn't this look exactly like one particular TVR? But I couldn't find one that looks like it. But what I'm saying is it definitely looks the part, and that is because this body shell, according to its creator, is supposed to look like a mix between a Dodge Viper and a TVR Cerberus, and he did a good job. We also have Hellas on the rear, Hella taillights, and then big wing, of course, quad exhausts, big aggressive diffuser, lip on the bottom here as well, a roof scoop, like all the good stuff. Obviously this is rear-wheel drive. How can you not make a car that looks like this rear-wheel drive? It also has a new engine in here, a 5 valve per cylinder flat plane V8 a la Ferrari, only that this is a 4.2 liter V8 made from aluminum silicium engine, or made from aluminum silicium, ALSI, whatever. Best possible internals, of course, because again, we need those. Extremely aggressive cam profile, 10.8 compression ratio, VVT on all cams, naturally aspirated, multi-point EFI throttle per cylinder, performance intake, a really nice shiny red engine head cover, and then the fuel mixture is actually pretty lean, 14.6:1, certainly leaner than you would expect given its competitors. 8700 RPM redline, race tubular headers, dual exhaust, of course, making 525 horsepower from 4.2 liters in 1998. Also, we only have one muffler, one straight through, and just no second muffler. So yeah, this is gonna help this car perform just as crazy as it looks. It has a 6-speed manual gearbox, an automatic locker, because again this does put power down better than the geared limited slip diff. It has sports tires, 275s all around, which again is crazy for 1998, but then again this is a crazy car. 650 millimeter wheel diameter, 18-inch rims made from magnesium. 4 piston vented discs up front, 2 piston vented discs on the rear. Fully clad on the tray. We do not have an active wing, even though we probably should. No, it doesn't do anything. Cooling airflow is just enough. We have some quality into the aerodynamics as well. We really don't need cooling flaps on this car, like, you're not fooling anyone. Sport interior, standard CD. Might as well have a CD player in there when everybody else in the late 90s gets one. I know how uncool it would be for the kids that are hanging this on their bedroom wall posters if they find out that while everybody else in the day has a CD player, this doesn't. So their kind of bedroom wall hero doesn't even have a CD player for them to listen to their favorite music to. Not that they would hear anything because of the engine, but you get the idea. Standard 90s safety, active sport springs, adaptive dampers. So this has a very fancy suspension setup to make sure that this is not only fast in a straight line. By the way, the door handles are sort of hard to see before anybody says this doesn't have door handles. But in any case, yeah, this is a true performance car that is also road going. But we will now find out just how fast this thing is in a straight line. And there's 300. God damn, that's incredibly quick. Like, you know that the first sector is on this track that I made very simply. The first split time is the quarter mile time, and then the second sector is at the full mile. Obviously, the sector 2 goes from where sector 1 ends up to the full mile, so the 15.97 seconds is the time it takes for this car to reach the full mile after it's already passed the quarter mile. So if you combine the first two, you get the standing mile time. So this car would do the standing mile in 28.05 seconds, and as we see here at 25.55, we are already at 300 kilometers an hour. So yeah, at 28 seconds, this would be at like 305, 310, something like that. And yeah, that is certainly faster than like a TVR Cerberus and a Dodge Viper, even in its GTS kind of trim. Jeremy Clarkson actually, in one of his films, he actually did a shootout between the mid to late 90s supercars, not including the McLaren F1 or the Ferrari F50 or the Jag XJ220, because, you know, limited production hypercars. But there was a Viper in there, and there was a TVR Cerberus in there, and the Cerberus won the race at a 31.2 second standing mile, compared to this car's 28.1. So this would absolutely annihilate any other supercar that isn't like limited production, you know, in 1998. This is just a maniac. And also I haven't messed with this yet, so yeah, we can actually then get a decent idea of what this car would cost too. So let's set all of this up. We will take a space frame chassis, a space frame expert. We will take another space frame expert. We will take somebody who's really good with drivetrains, like you. And then I guess, yeah, you. And then we can't really go without the suspension expert from Germany, can we? Okay, put the focus on efficient, because like we're not messing around with this car. And we don't need more reliability. Nobody's ever gonna drive this car every day. Like, who do you think you're kidding? So for this engine, we need somebody who's really good with dual overhead cams. We're gonna also employ the naturally aspirated tuning expert. We're gonna employ the V8 master. We're gonna employ the forge expert and the metallurgy expert, I think. Yep, and then again, no kidding. This would mean about 2,000 cars made per year. Yeah, I think that's enough. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's also a Targa version of this car. We're gonna be looking at that in just a minute. Probably want more coupes than Targas. Like this. Engines made per day 2. What? Well, okay, now we can produce 8 per day. Let's make 6.5 per day, it's just so we have a little bit more than we need. Yeah, so this is expensive, of course. Like, who thought it wouldn't be? With a carbon fiber chassis and a very complex 4.2 liter flat-wing V8 engine. But it is not only faster than the Flare Mark V with the V12, it is also less expensive than, say, a Ferrari F50, which is ultimately also slower, and it is also less expensive than a Lamborghini Diablo, which is also slower. It is like, for this kind of performance in 1998, it's well priced, is what I'm getting at. And now let's look at the Targa version, which is effectively exactly the same, but of course has a Targa roof, which I think looks really cool. And this does not go quite as quickly because of aerodynamic restrictions, I think, because of the roof. But it would still be the fastest Targa car in 1998. And it's still really fast. And there's 200. That's crazy. Let's actually see how fast the 4.2 liter the coupe would go around a few different test tracks. Automation track, certainly less than 215. I'm gonna bet on that. 209.05. That is, I think, the fastest time ever in the Marina. Faster than the Bolt Mark II even, probably. And let's see this thing perform around Laguna Seca. .140.6. That is actually almost as quick as a contemporary BMW M4. So yeah, in that sense, like, even with 90s tech, admittedly this has almost 100 more horsepower than the M4. It weighs less, but also it doesn't have the same clever diff. It doesn't have a double clutch gearbox. It doesn't have as much torque, it doesn't have as much grip coming out of a corner, etc, etc. Like, with all those things considered, I think this performs really damn well for its time. And even by today's standards, it's not slow at all, especially in a straight line, but also around corners and around tracks. Yeah. Would you pay $127,000 for one of these if you had that sort of money? I probably would. This is the first car I've ever built that made me wish for a game that would let us import cars that we built in automation into it. Like a racing game where you could import cars that you made in automation. That would be awesome. Like, if you could import this car into any racing game and then make a 90s cars only race where people can only pick cars from the 90s, it would dominate, probably. And let alone that in a game like Forza, where you can tune cars, this would make for an absolutely incredible, like, drag racing car. And the reason why this is so fast in a straight line is because of its very low drag coefficient. And remember, we do have 2 lips and 1 wing on this car, and it still has a drag coefficient of less than 0.6. And that is incredible in this game, because like usually if you have 2 lips and 1 wing and as much cooling as this car makes, your drag coefficient is probably gonna be around 0.75, 0.8 at the very least. But this is less than 0.6, so that makes a huge difference. That makes a huge difference, and it pays dividends, as you can see on its top speed. So, what do you think about this car? Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Leave a like or a comment if you did. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.